Hi everyone, welcome back to Life with Ogo. My name is Adrian, and I'm here with my co-host Mary.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, and today we have our coffee Mary with a side of personal safety. So, personal safety, if you've been in our community for the last 5, almost 6 years now, it will be 6 this week, Mary, very crazy. Um, if you've been with us, we talk a lot about personal safety and awareness. And today we wanted to do a fun spin on that with a summer theme. And we also have some bonus, like trendy safety issues to go over if you stay till the end.
Absolutely. So the bottom line, and we will have different topics throughout about different summer safety, but the bottom line is just a couple things. Awareness. Be aware of your surroundings. Just be alert. You also want to create, you do not want to be a victim. You want to create obstacles to your victimhood or obstacles in your space to make you undesirable as a victim. You want to be a good witness, not necessarily a hero. Live to be a really good witness. And lastly, don't ever let anyone steal you. Bottom line, don't let anyone steal you. I think as we age, people begin to underestimate us, underestimate our kind of awareness of everything, our ability to fight back, how clever we are. And that's one of my favorite t-shirts. Go ahead and underestimate me. That will be fun. So I think that we do not want to become those traditional middle-aged ladies or little old ladies who are just easy marks and easy targets. That is not who any of us are. So that's why we're talking about this today.
So, to not make yourself an easy target, Mary, our first adventure of our summer safety is farmers markets and festivals. What are we looking for here? What can we do to be proactive? What are your thoughts on this?
Like a lot of places, it's a large gathering, and a lot of times these are crimes of opportunity because the bad guys know there's going to be a lot of people there. A lot of people are carrying cash because the vendors are only interested in cash. So, first off, when you park your car, be aware of your surroundings. If you're not feeling good about where your car is parked, then don't park your car there. Always listen to that little inner voice. The other thing is do not get out of your car and put your purse in the trunk and slam the trunk and walk away. That is a mistake I think we have all made because that immediately tells everybody where your purse is. Um, don't do that. If you want to put things in your trunk, put them in your trunk and move your car somewhere else. The other piece is don't leave anything of interest in your car, a purse, a phone, a laptop, whatever. Just make your car very dull and boring, that are uninterested to thieves. Now, when you're actually in the festival itself, I really prefer carrying my cash and my cards in my front pocket of my pants or my shorts. Not the back pocket, but the front pocket right there next to me. And then, Adrian, I know you have a couple of little gizmos that you like to use.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. So I think like one of the things is that you have that big bag because like you're getting your vegetables or whatever, so you have like a tote bag usually with you. It's just not keeping your money in that. Ideally, clipping it onto your body or even splitting it up on where it is. So if they did pocket your one pocket, you still have like your credit cards in the other pocket. And like you said, that front pocket's really important. But they also make really nice slim, like super slim. Like it's just for your credit card, your keys, like the very basic things. And it's a crossbody bag, so you can actually just wear that. And so then if you're going somewhere after the farmer's market and you want the credit card or you want to have some backup cash, you can carry that on your person. Or like some of the wallets will actually like click onto your pants. So for me, like that's kind of thing. And then of course, Mary, I have the extra pocket here too. So, I have no shame. Use your sock, use what you have. Because you're gonna feel if somebody's getting there. So just make you a little bit harder than that next person to target.
women have been using that spare space for many, 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 many years, hundreds of years probably. And actually, they make a little something where you can clip it right from strap to strap. And
Oh,
yeah, it's been around for
no.
decades and decades and decades. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, all of my great aunties had one, Like it right. So
Very fancy. No, I just usually just throw it in and then, have quarters coming out at the end of the day. So it's an adventure every year, Mary. So also I think when we're there, Mary, one of the things that happens a lot of times is people will put flyers or stuff on your car. I know we talked about the car going to the festival. Sometimes when you're leaving, you'll have stuff, especially if it's like a fireworks or something later at night. Do you want to talk about that?
yes, and it's trending a lot on YouTube. I noticed windshield wipers will be tipped up, or there'll be something stuck to the car door handle or a flyer. You know what? Ignore those. Get in the car and leave. I actually travel a lot of places, even though I'm very happily married, but my husband and I like different things. So it's not unusual for me to go somewhere necessarily by myself. Um, and I don't fix any of that. I get in the car and I leave and I go to a trusted area, whether it's a neighbor's driveway or whether it's a well-lit gas station or whatever, and then I fix the stuff. I The point is I'm not going to linger around my car. I'm not going to linger around my car with my back turned, putting the windshield wiper down or pulling the flyer out, and all of a sudden somebody has grabbed my purse or, heaven
Mhm.
forbid, knocked me in the head and they're going to try and steal me.
It's
Which
true though.
it is true though.
Yeah.
So just leave and go to a better area.
And then some of your tips you know that you always talk about. I'm not a purse carrier myself, but I know you like to have the purses on you, and you always say like you got to put the purse in the car first.
Yes. Yeah. When you go to get in the car, the worst thing you can do is go in and have your purse hanging on that shoulder that's on the out on the door side. It's like, no, take off the purse, put it in the floor or down on the console, wherever, put it in first
Yeah,
and then get yourself in because you don't want that purse hanging out there in that open door and just somebody, that's an easy, you talk about a crime of opportunity. That's an easy grab.
yeah.
So you don't want that. And when you put your purse in the car, I frequently put it on the driver's side in the floor well, in the footwell.
Hmm.
If I'm doing anything else, shut the door and then, load the back seat or whatever it is I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I just get it out of sight and it's no longer an opportunity.
Did you have anything else news for farmers market?
No, I think we got it.
Let's move on then to our next adventure, which is a pool day, Mary. We all have gone to the pool, and of course, the pool or the ocean, you're dealing with water, you're dealing with a different scenario. What are we looking at here?
And that's really hard, whether you're at the pool, a lake, a beach, a river. You only want to take what you absolutely need because it really is harder to secure. I know they have the things that you can dig them down in the sand and that type of thing, but obviously, if you're doing it, you're being watched.
Yeah.
So take only what you need. You're taking the grandkids. Maybe if you only need credit cards and don't need cash, or maybe you're going to one of those water world places with the waves.
Yeah.
The other thing is nowadays there are companies that make these nice bathing suits, like that have shorts or longer shorts, and they have pockets in them, so you can actually, zip pocket, zip in your keys or your credit card.
The other thing, Mary, I brought a show and tell. So I think we've all seen these kind of like cell phone ones. I personally just don't trust these. I don't know. Your cell phone's so expensive now. Like, I don't know. But when we were traveling, we found these fanny packs, right? So, or crossbody bags now is what the cool kids are calling them. But these are cool because these are like $7 on Amazon. And we'll put the link up. I mean, we don't have any affiliate, but just so you can find it. And what these are, they're actually like a double Velcro bag. And then this rolls up and the Velcro comes over it. And this whole thing is super waterproof. So when we got it, we like put paper towels in and submerged it, and we've used it in the ocean for our passports. We've used it for our cell phones. I don't think I would wear it as a fanny pack. I mean, obviously you have to be kind of tiny too. For me, like I don't want that around my waist when I'm in the ocean, especially over at the lake parts. But it worked really well to wrap around your arm or to even like attach onto like your flotation device and stuff. So you have all of your valuables with you. So I really like this. And it was like they're like $14 for two. So we'll put the link again or the photo up here so you guys can see that. But for me, that's just like so much better. And it's just big enough for your wallet, your phone, anything essential as that could be.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Hmm.
And again, and this happened to us most recently. We were traveling and we had our just a bag, a canvas bag, but it had our, our money, our passports, a few other things. And my husband went and got in the water and I was wading in ankle deep and both of us saw this fella. And my husband, who is retired law enforcement, he's like, yeah. And I am staring at this guy and watching my stuff and I'm moving out of the water and my husband's moving out of the water. And I guarantee you, he was going to snatch the bag. And it's, you know what? I didn't feel bad being suspicious. If, like I said, if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. This guy was like playing with his phone, like he was taking pictures of himself, getting closer and closer and closer to our stuff. And obviously we're tourists, so it's not like there's going to be any repercussions other than we're completely inconvenienced. So I did not feel bad not trusting him. Don't ever feel bad. Listen to your inner voice. I went and got on the beach towel. My husband went and got on the beach towel, and then we just took turns going in the water.
Hmm.
Because I'd rather float by myself than have our stuff stolen.
Yeah.
You know.
Or for $7, Mary, float together.
There you go. There you go.
But in some of our previous videos, we talked about how the the criminals don't think like we think. We think just being near our stuff or having an eye on our stuff would deter them, but they're pretty brazen. Like, if they're wanting to, they're gonna get out of there. Get in, get out. Um, but also the importance of you keeping your essentials on your person and then using your purse for your nice to have stuff. Like my mom, she worked in the city for a while, so she would be like, well, if they take my purse, they get my lunch and my book. If something were to happen to her bag, she's not going to be worried about the contents of the bag. She's going to be more worried about herself and getting out of their safety. And so I think like when we start going to farmers markets and we go to the pool, like the pool beach rides are just so awkward. And you're not paying attention and it's just so much more and you're constantly digging. So even just for convenience, having it on you.
Exactly. And take only what you need.
Yeah.
If you're going to a place that they'll take credit cards, because that's the easiest thing to resolve,
Yeah.
just credit card and a driver's license. Yeah.
So speaking about taking only the things we need, let's hit the road, Mary, and talk about road trips. So, if you're going somewhere for half a day, what are we looking at with road trips?
Okay. And I have done a lot of solo driving in my life, all across the country. And the way I travel with myself, just me, and the way I travel with my husband is slightly different.
Hmm.
But we do keep this one. I never let my car get below a quarter of a tank. That's all there is to it. And I will find a gas station, one of those nicer, bigger, heavily populated, well lit, lots of traffic gas stations.
Mm.
And if I'm not feeling good about it, if I'm not feeling real comfortable with people that are coming and going, or it's not lit well enough, or there are not enough people, I will turn right back around and go back out and find another gas station. Because I still have a quarter of a tank, which is plenty of gas to find a gas station. But if I'm traveling by myself, places like a Buc-ee's, because there's so many pumps, so many people, so well lit, I feel much more secure than I would at some, just pulled off the highway, off ramp, pulled into some gas station, an area that's not really well populated.
Yeah.
I would never do that. But that's a big important thing to me when I'm traveling. The other thing is I keep a hotel bag because frequently it's like I'm spending several nights in a hotel, ultimately headed to a longer vacation to get there. And so I keep a much smaller bag that just has, my toothbrush, my toothpaste, my deodorant, the change of clothes for the next day, something to sleep in. And that's the only thing I take in. I don't haul the big suitcase in and out of the car. In fact, I leave the suitcases in the car and I have a black blanket that I cover them with. It just makes them less visible. I don't want anything to be intriguing to anybody walking past the car. Once again, I don't leave anything in the car that's interesting or even vaguely interesting. The gassing up where it's well lit, listening to that voice. If I don't like what I'm seeing or feeling, I keep on going. Those are some biggies. Awareness around you.
So we live in the Midwest. I lived for a while. I live in Nebraska, right? So it's very, very like if you don't gas up, you might run out of gas. But for me, being prepared for a road trip is, having your gas, like you said, because it just gives you options. Having some snacks and some water, again, it gives you options. If you have to pass the rest area, you can. And then also having like your directions like on a physical form or at least written out so like you get to the next major urban area because cell phone service is just a luxury in some of these areas. And I feel like when you don't know where you're going, then you feel just so much more vulnerable and you start to be more stressed out and maybe not as aware. So that's one of the things. And then also like having the stuff in our car, if you have the ability to have a AAA or, the car rescue light thing that they have now with the one touch or one star, whatever that's called. Something similar to that if you do run into an issue on the side of the road. But like you said too, like if you're on the side of the road and you're by yourself and you're really scared, like don't be afraid to call highway patrol. Just letting them know that you're out there and that you're worried. Like at least again, even if you have to leave your car, it's better than you being out there and being vulnerable.
Yeah, and I have no issues with hi, I'm single, a single woman sitting in my car on the side of the highway. I'm very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And I just once had somebody say, well, I don't want them to deal with me and they need to be going to a murder. I said, that's why you have dispatchers. They prioritize and triage the important stuff.
Hmm.
But letting them know that you're there, and sure enough, the highway patrol will pull up and check on you and until you can get your roadside assistance. There's nothing wrong. I'm telling you, they are happy to do it.
Yeah.
They much rather pull up and find you healthy and happy and alive than pull up and find you otherwise.
Yeah. Lots less paperwork.
Yes, lots less paperwork.
Lots less paperwork. And then the other thing though, Mary, is you mentioned that about bothering people, and I feel like that's a really like a female thing, especially like we feel like we don't want to bother people, we don't want to, or we want to help people, right?
Mm.
And I heard this lady, I don't know who it was, but she said, How are you going to be more helpful than a 911 or a AAA? Like, if somebody needs you to jump their car, they can call AAA. They can go into the business and get help. Or even when you're in a parking lot, if there's something wrong with your vehicle or something that they need to communicate with you, they can yell at you. Like, you could yell across the parking lot and say, hey, you have a flat tire or something. Like, people don't need to come up to you and have that conversation. But I feel like we are like, oh, well, I don't want to cause a scene. So,
I have
okay.
had that happen, and I've had that happen, and more than once, I have looked at that. It was a man in particular, and I was like, stop. And I put my hand out just like that. I said, stop. You don't need to come any closer.
Yeah.
I can hear you. And I was very direct, and he understood. I mean, he had no ill intent. He understood. He goes, oh, I get it. I get it. I just want you to, I said, okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Jaded. Now you go on and have a good day. You've done your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them ever get close enough to hurt you or steal you. And I'm not paranoid. I'm just cautious. And I have traveled all over the world and all over the country. And so far, so good.
Speaking of traveling far, Mary, our next theme is summer vacation. So this is kind of like the idea that we're going away for a week. We're going to go to the beach or the mountains or whatever. What are we looking at with this situation?
Well, more than we just talked about the car safety. And by the way, I love the idea. Stop and get a map anywhere,
Mhm.
an old fashioned paper map. But let's talk a little bit about hotels and hotel safety if you want to. And that's a big deal traveling by myself. And I know you have a process and I have a process, and mine involves and I really do. The front desk has gotten much better about this in most hotels. Just passing you the room card with the number, not saying it out loud.
Mhm.
If they say it out loud, say, I'm going to need a new number. I'm going to need a new room.
Yeah.
And they should understand that just fine. The other thing is when I go up, I'm like you. I think you prefer the second floor and above.
Yeah.
I prop my door open with my suitcase or my bag, whatever it is I'm carrying, and keep it propped open. And it just makes me feel better, but it's also smart. I check in the closet, I check in the bathroom, I open the shower curtain, I walk all the way in, and only then do I have the door shut behind me.
Mhm.
Just you just never know, you know.
Yeah.
And
About the room selection, you mentioned it kind of fast, but yeah, ground floor rooms are kind of a little bit more sketch, and they don't like to be right next to the stairwell. In a hotel, I just feel like that's just more of an opportunity than, can you be somewhere else? The only thing you have to worry about is if there's a fire, right? Like, how athletic are you?
yeah,
So, like, I don't necessarily want to be on the 18th floor, but I don't want to be on the first floor either,
But
just like headlights. I mean, there's nothing else, even if it's a perfect world, like you don't want headlights and people looking in, like you don't need that. You also talked about like how when you travel, you actually like to move your car so you can ideally see it from your room. So you can just get that aerial view before you leave.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, we moved the car around to where we can look out the window and see our car. It's just
Hmm. Yeah.
it,
And then when you're at the hotel, depending on where you're staying, and again, this is all about like the awareness. Like there are areas that are more, risque than others. You want to be cautious about your valuables. So I like to keep everything I need, like my wallet and my phone, like in case the alarm goes off or something. What can I leave with? And you're going to be disoriented, right? Because it's not your home, it's not your bedroom. So taking that stuff and keeping that by the nightstand. But also, like, if you are traveling with like more cash or something, using the hotel safe or hiding it again around your room, like where you'll remember and somebody most likely won't find it. When we went out to Vegas, like you need a lot of cash in Vegas, but it's also in the high time area sometimes.
Mm.
I put money like in my pads, like I had the sticker pads, so I slip it in, like folded the pad up really careful. It was a little hard finding it sometimes, but I knew where it was. I was like, which
good.
one of these is it? But also like the hair dryer back, typically they're not done looking there. We need to go see this video, and I now ruined that spot for myself. At night, like one of the things that I like to do is I usually travel with a larger suitcase, and so I actually will put the suitcase up against the door. So like I'll open it and put that in the door hole, and then that way I can easily move it if I need to get out, but it also just makes more noise if somebody were to come in. I know they sell a lot of those hotel key things, but I haven't found one that really seems like it's gonna work. And even like the door stop trick, like those doors are sealed on some of these hotel rooms. So for me, that's just like a more practical way. Like, what are you gonna do with your suitcase anyway? How do you fit in the door?
And I think if you're like me and you travel with that smaller bag, you can put a chair in front of the door, a trash can, anything that's going to make noise and create an obstacle.
Mhm.
Like I said, make yourself a difficult victim, a difficult, uncooperative person. That is a lot of noise, a lot of chaos, a lot of difficulty. That's what you want to do.
And the other side of the vacation Mary too is that you're leaving the house. So definitely some home prep is important. So stopping your mail, which again you can do that online now. I mean it's very easy. Stopping your newspapers if you still get them. We hire somebody just to check on our property. Like if it snows, I want foot tracks in the snow. It's pretty cheap to do. But then I know one person knows I'm gone versus the whole neighborhood. And one more thing I want to say about the house is before we move on to your pet peeve of vacations, Mary. Is I like to also have like the dusted on bulbs. They just turn on automatically. If you guys haven't seen them, they're like, I don't know, $10 at your hardware store. But you just put it into your porch light and then, comes on when the sun goes down, turns off when the sun's up. So really awesome opportunity. You never have to worry about turning the light on and off. And of course, timers also work like inside. But as you know, most stuffs happen during the day. So really just making sure that you're aware. And it might be excessive, but it's just that peace of mind knowing somebody's looking at my house. Like, we had a water pipe break. So it's like you did everything to not get packages, not get mail, and then, the city puts right orange sticker on your door. Okay, so those are some ideas before you leave, but while you're on vacation, what is your number one tip?
Please do not post your photos real time on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Please stop it. Please.
It's so tempting.
I love to see your travel photos, but I will be just as happy to see them when you get back.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's been said for years and years and years. And yes, most crimes are crimes of opportunity, but don't make it easy for them to figure out that you're not there.
Yeah. And the other idea, the Mary, that we had was to have an RFID wallet. Protecting your credit cards when you're going away. So ideally having multiple forms of payment, but getting like an RFID credit card sleeve or a wallet, right?
And I always let my credit card and my bank know when I'm traveling, even when I'm traveling across states. And of course, internationally, always. I let them know. And that also helps if anything goes sideways.
Right. So those are all of the summer themed safety tips that we had, but we do have a little bit of a bonus section, which again applies to travel, but also everyday life that we wanted to cover. And Mary, you recently had a near miss. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, because, we all use our phones for everything, including to do a search, like a Google search.
Mhm.
And we really dodged a bullet on this one. We were Googling prices for hotel rooms for a certain thing. And so the results come back up. And I swear the way it was set up, it looked like that brand hotel. And we actually called, and it was eventually turned out to be an AI voice, but boy, it felt and sounded like I was
Yeah.
talking to a real person. Well, long story short, they were quoting me a rate that it, with taxes and fees included, was like $100 more. I'm like, that is insane.
You,
And they're like, oh, well, with taxes and fees, that's what the rate is. And I'm like, and I finally said, are you a human? And the response was, I'm an authorized representative.
authorized representative. You gotta love it. But I think some of that comes into the fact that now it's so easy to copycat a website. So it looks like the actual website, like so your bank website, your credit card website. And then, if you put enough ad spend on it, that's going to show up in the first couple of search results on Google. And it can even mess up like the AI response that Google gives you sometimes. And so just really double checking, especially things like banks or anywhere where you're giving your money, that you're going to that actual website or that you're calling the number on the back of your card versus just going with the first 1 to 3 Google results. Similar to that, though, Mary, is the whole spoofing thing. And I know spoofing has been along for a long time, so that's where it looks like somebody else is calling your number. So it looks like Mary's calling me, but it's actually some other person that I don't know. And now with so much things being on social media and everything, people can mimic your voice and they can, mimic even details about your life now. Because you posted that you were going to the Bahamas and now your kid is calling from the Bahamas, right? So it's almost like going back and just being aware that it'll be a high stress call, like, oh, I need money, or I got arrested, or something like that, and you need to do something. Going back to having that family emergency password. And just be like, well, what's the special word? I know we had that like when I was a kid, Mary, on the playground. Like if you're like my uncle came to pick me up and I was like, you can't take me without the special code word.
Yeah.
I was a big rule follower back in the day, Mary. Um, but it just helps because these things are so real. And again, you got that adrenaline, you got all that like nervous energy, and you're not going to be thinking as clearly when those calls come in.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get a phone call saying, this is whatever, whatever jail. Will you accept a collect call
Mm,
from Bob? And you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And yeah, yeah. Having that family password set up, because this has been going on for a long time.
yeah,
Any of those phone calls, you are not likely to get the true phone call. Anything like the US government is never going to phone call you. IRS, INS, ICE, any elemental Ps
yeah,
are never going to phone call you. It's always going to be in writing.
yeah.
So don't fall for any of that.
But when it looks so real,
Mm-hmm.
that's where these tools try and get you. It's gonna look like your mom is calling and saying, "Oh my gosh, you're actually can you forward me $100 to pay for the tow truck or something. Frank had her card to pay for the tow truck or something. And then that's just where that comes in. The other side of that though too is that there's so much that they can do if you open a link or if you scan a QR code that you really need to be extra, extra careful that you're there's just so much data in links. I think like we think, oh, it's just a website link, but they can see where you're clicking from. They can see what you did on it. They can put malware on your phone. So really being careful if somebody sends you a link that you don't know.
It all goes back to awareness. I mean, if your little voice says, this is weird, it probably is. Don't hesitate to stop and research. I mean, like I said, we almost paid a stupid amount of money not to the hotel
Yeah,
because it was like, what? And then you stopped and I realized, oh, that was a result that wasn't the actual hotel.
yeah.
So,
And then I had so yes, like with the whole thing about, double checking and stuff, it is that password thing. And I know we talked about this, over the years, but really having a tier password. So like we have one password that's just for like joint accounts that don't have anything to do with us. Like Kroger, like the worst where I get my address and what I purchased at Kroger. Like when you start talking about like your Amazon account, your phone accounts, your email accounts, like your email, I mean that's definitely with these two-factor authentication, like so many times we're like, I'm gonna send a code to your email. You really need to be doing stronger passwords for those. And you can use a password manager if that's something you feel comfortable with, but you can also write it down. Like when we talked about with our emergency binder, Mary, somebody breaks in your house, they don't want your paperwork. They want your quick cash valuables, right?
Yes.
They're like looking
Your
for
electronics.
yeah, they're looking for a totally different set than somebody who's an online criminal, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so, writing it down, for those really complex websites, like again, anything that's cloud storage, anything that has your personal information on it for your credit cards, just having that more complex. And I think that kind of leads us to a newer idea that I just actually saw myself, Mary, and it's called port out protection. So port, PORT. And this is, so I recently got a phone. I think I talked about it on our last live, but I got a phone and I didn't even have to go to the store. Like it has an eSIM card now. So like it just talked to the other phone and set itself up and
Oh,
cool, but kind of crazy. But again, with this two-factor authentication, when they send you a code, if they have your phone, they can do that. And so what they're doing now is they're actually getting another phone and porting your phone number to it. And then they get all the codes and what a mess to get that back. And so it actually is really easy to do. I have T-Mobile, so I just went on the T-Mobile website, Google it, it will tell you how to do it. It just takes like 2 minutes. Is somebody gonna port out my eSIM? Probably not. Hopefully not. But now I just have a quick code. So like the next time I go to do a phone, I just enter in the code and I'll be able to protect myself from anybody else getting my phone number.
that is cool. I'm going to check that out immediately, if not sooner.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Poured out.
And I think the other thing is too, just knowing how to lock out your phone. So if I have Google, so I have the Google Find My Device, so I can quickly lock my phone. If it should be lost or something, I also use it to call my own phone. I lose my phone all the time. But yeah. But just knowing what to do if your phone actually does get stolen, because you're going to be without a phone and you're probably going to be somewhere inconvenient because that's just the way it works.
Oh, yeah.
So just taking a few minutes to do that. And again, none of this is to scare anybody. It's just to be more prepared and to make yourself less of a target.
Yes. It's about being aware, creating obstacles to being a victim, being a good witness, and do not let yourself get stolen. Bottom.
All right, so that is it for being our summer safety. We'd love to hear your thoughts below, but also we'd love to see you on a future live. We host a live every month, typically on the third Wednesday, and we start here on YouTube, and then we move into a private Zoom room so you can connect with other people in our community, ask any questions that you have. You don't have to worry about being recorded. It's just a nice way to get some support and get some extra help. All that information will be in the description box below.
And if you enjoyed this, I really please to help support us as well. Share it with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. But also, if you would like, subscribe, and share, and all the buttons are below, we would be most appreciative. So thank you very much.
And it tells it tells YouTube that we are real people that you can trust.
Yep.
So until next time, friends. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.